Morning. This is Pastor Rick, Straight Talk on Scripture, and with me today is my guest and grandson, Chris Smith, who actually has his own show, and he's agreed to come on today to just discuss the importance of spirituality with millennials. Chris, why don't you say hello?
Hi, everybody. I think my grandpa did a good job introducing me, but glad to be on today.
So, this is just kind of impromptu, and like everybody has heard about millennials and kind of what they're into, what they're not into, what they're all about, but really nobody can express. First of all millennials are not the same. You know, everybody's still individuals. But secondly, you don't want to hear about it from somebody else. You want to hear from somebody's out of their own mouth. So I'm going to spend some time. I'm just going to ask Chris a few questions, and
I'll interject right there. Actually, I think the first point you made is kind of important of not generalizing all millennials into one big grouping. I think that people my age kind of get annoyed at that notion that, like, you know, a lot of people are like, blame the millennials, I guess it kind of happens from generation to generation. I'm sure you dealt with it when you were growing up with people wanting to blame your generation. Absolutely. Up and coming. So I'm sure that generalization is, I think that's a good point that you made in the beginning there.
Absolutely. I was a boomer, and actually I was part of the hippie generation. And, you know, I did get lumped in with that group, especially because I looked the part. And it was most of the time negative. Well, actually, it was positive if it was someone who looked like me. It was negative if they didn't. And so, yes, I think it goes from generation to generation where people just put everybody in a tribe group. Right. But what I want to talk about today, and feel free to be as, you know, candid as you want, is in your life, where does spirituality fit in? And I'm not talking about organized religion. I'm not talking about, you know, if you want to be a Jewish or a Buddhist or a Catholic, just the spiritual side of life. How do you view that?
I guess simply put, I would say what I kind of define my own spirituality as is just kind of the foundation, the lessons and the foundations, I think, that I was taught through Christianity growing up in church and everything. I think was really good in that it instilled a lot of good values in me. And while I'm not so much into religion anymore, I think those values that it did instill in me is what I still am attached to. And again, so when you bring it back to spirituality, I think I kind of just look towards how can I live a good life? How can I be of service to myself and to other people? And I think just kind of being cognizant of that day by day, being in touch with that and not, you know, straying too far from that is how I've been able to, I guess, stay in touch with my spirituality.
I think, you know, besides a relationship with Jesus, I'm not really big on organized religion. I mean, obviously I'm part of a church, but I think that the most important thing is a personal relationship with God. But you have the second most important thing, which is the desire to take those values and make your world a better place. Right. And I mean, I basically think if everybody comes away with that, if we pass that on from generation to generation, it's a win-win.
I think that's the most important thing. Kind of like we talked about with millennials, there's times where religion can be grouped, and, you know, the bad apples make a bad name for religion as a whole, and that's not the way it should be, because, like I said, I think it taught me a lot of really good values and kind of made me the person I am today. But those bad apples, I think, are what is driving my generation away from religion so much. It's like, I'll use as an example, like the Westboro Baptist Church with their like extremist views. And again, they're not representative of religion as a whole. But I think when people from like my generation look at that and look at the way that they've used religion to instead of bring up other people and like instill a positive message, they've used it to bring other people down. And I think that's been a problem where, because of that, religion has been lumped into this whole big, you know, it can be looked at through a negative lens when it shouldn't necessarily. It's at the end of the day, it's about positivity. It's about bringing people together in love, and that's the message you should be focusing on.
You know, I think you really hit the nail on the head at the beginning where I said you can't lump all millennials together. The truth is all churches are not the same.
Exactly.
And, you know, if I guess we want to sum up this with any one statement, is take people on an individual basis. You know, always assume the best until somebody shows you otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Treat your fellow man with love and respect. Try to make your world a better place. And if you do, you're doing okay.
Yeah, exactly. You're leaving the world a better place than you're at. So that's all you can try and do.
Thank you, Chris.